When you start up the first Mortal Kombat, one of the earliest animations preceding the title screen shows the fearsome Goro in action. Goro debuted as a boss character in the first Mortal Kombat game, a hulking monstrosity with 4 arms. He is a perfect introduction of the villainous threat that typifies Mortal Kombat, though he is not a prominent villain and he is one of many different types. We'll explain more about this 4-armed foe with our video on the full story of Goro. Goro belongs to the Shokan, a warrior race native to the realm of Outworld, separate from Earthrealm. The Shokan possess 4 arms and 3 fingers. They are half dragon and half human, but grow to be much larger than humans and boast fearsome physical strength. Goro himself is one of the Shokan's most powerful warriors. By the time of his introduction, he is known for having won 9 Mortal Kombat tournaments in a row, and defeated and killed the previous Mortal Kombat champion, the great Kung Lao of Earthrealm, prior to his own winning streak. Goro himself is consistently portrayed as a loyal servant to series villain Shao Kahn, though this sometimes changes. Before continuing though, it is worth noting that there are 2 continuities in Mortal Kombat, the Midway Continuity and the NetherRealm Continuity. The Midway Continuity is comprised of titles developed by Midway Games, the original developers of the Mortal Kombat franchise, though now inoperable. The NetherRealm Continuity is comprised of games developed by NetherRealm Studios, which have been working on the titles since Mortal Kombat 2011. To start with the Midway Continuity, Goro appears in the first Mortal Kombat tournament as its reigning champion, but he is overthrown by Liu Kang, a Shaolin monk from Earthrealm. Because of Goro's defeat, Outworld will not be able to invade Earthrealm, as the rules of Mortal Kombat state that if one realm wins 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments against another, then invasion against the defeated realm is allowed. In a separate battle after the tournament, Goro goes missing after fighting against Sonya, Kano, and Johnny Cage. He is not seen again until Mortal Kombat 4, by which time Shao Kahn has been defeated twice after the events of the previous 2 games. He fights again against Liu Kang, seeking to avenge his loss, but falls again. Goro is also challenged by Kung Lao, a descendant of the great Kung Lao, whom Goro killed. They fight to the point that Kung Lao scars him, and achieving this, Kung Lao declares that their feud is to be resolved. By the end of Mortal Kombat 4, Goro and the Shokan have signed a peace treaty with the Centaurians and have allied with the Edenians, as brokered by Kitana. Goro returns again in the 6th game in the series, Mortal Kombat Deception. The Edenians and the Shokan wage war against Shao Kahn and his army, weakened after losses from the previous games. Goro nearly dies after being struck by Noob Saibot, but Shao Kahn appears to him, promising to destroy the Centaurians should he ally again with Shao Kahn. Goro agrees and helps Shao Kahn in his campaigns to again become the Emperor of Outworld. He returns in the 7th game, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Leading up to this game, the combined might of Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, and Goro took back Shao Kahn's fortress, which had been occupied by Edenian forces led by Mileena. Mileena, created artificially in the likeness of the Edenian Princess Kitana, had been posing as Princess Kitana with the hopes of eventually corrupting the realm of Edenia to follow her without having to pose as Kitana. However, Shao Kahn's efforts put a stop to her plans. During the events of Armageddon, Taven confronts and defeats Goro. Goro is present for the Battle of Armageddon between the forces of good and evil at the end of the game, but perishes. While the forces of darkness win the Battle of Armageddon, Goro is dead. Raiden of the Forces of Light seeks to overturn the heroes' defeat by taking the information gleaned from his experiences in this timeline and sending it to his past self, so that the heroes can make choices that will guarantee the protection of Earthrealm and the heroes. This restarting founds the NetherRealm Continuity. Goro appears in Mortal Kombat 2011, which uses the first Mortal Kombat game as its starting point, but with a different series of events unfolding from that point. Throughout this title, Goro is a loyal servant of Shao Kahn. While he does not have his own story mode chapter, he sometimes appears as a story mode fight for the hero characters. At the start of the game, Goro has still won 9 victories in Mortal Kombat on behalf of Outworld. Goro, the reigning champion, is eventually confronted by Liu Kang in his story mode chapter, and also loses to him here. Afterwards, Liu Kang also bests Shang Tsung, and with this, Outworld's winning streak is broken. Goro's next major appearance is a face-off against Kung Lao later in the story, during the time of the second Mortal Kombat tournament and Kung Lao's story mode chapter. Kung Lao and Liu Kang are searching for Kitana, who is being held captive, and arrive to their current locations per the instructions of Kitana's friend, Jade. Goro and Kung Lao face off, and Kung Lao bests the Shokan warrior. Goro tells them that Kitana is being held in a coliseum, and taunts them by saying that she is probably already dead, to which Liu Kang knocks him out. Goro's next major appearance is in Cyber Sub-Zero's Story Mode chapter. Cyber Sub-Zero attempts to infiltrate Shao Kahn's outworld forces, and while he is not successful in deceiving Sector, he does incapacitate him. Cyber Sub-Zero then learns that a group of soldiers are being held captive by Goro, Kintaro, and Kano, and goes to rescue them. He freezes the three so that he can tend to the soldiers, but he is challenged shortly afterward by the two Shokan warriors, Goro and Kintaro, in a 2 versus 1. Goro and Kintaro do lose this fight, however, while Cyber Sub-Zero does fight against Ermac after defeating the Shokan warriors. He wins this fight as well, and thus rescues the soldiers. This episode concludes Goro's involvement in the story of Mortal Kombat 2011. Goro is a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 10 but does not feature at all in the game's story. He does, however, feature in the Mortal Kombat 10 comic series, the events of which precede the game itself. It tells of Shao Kahn's rampages against the Aztec people, a race to which Kotal Kahn, a new character in Mortal Kombat 10, belongs. In the past, Shao Kahn slaughtered many people in Outworld on his way to becoming emperor. The comics also explain that Goro killed Kotal Ketz at the time much closer to the beginning of Mortal Kombat 10. Ketz is the father of Kotal Kahn. Shortly after Kotal Ketz's death, Goro and Kotal Kahn also fight each other. Kotal Kahn eventually tears off each of Goro's 4 arms. Goro asks for a mercy killing, but Kotal declines, and Goro is imprisoned. Goro is later brought before his own father, who accepts Goro's defeat and pledges to kill Kotal Kahn himself, but he too fails and dies in the ensuing battle. Additionally, during this time, Goro came to learn of the Dragon King and villain Onaga and his apparent regenerative abilities by studying material assembled by the Red Dragon group. Goro later comes to defeat Kenshi and incapacitates him, bringing him to the Red Dragon leader, Dagon, in hopes of forming an alliance. But for all of this, Kenshi later appears alive and well in Mortal Kombat 10, and Goro doesn't appear in Mortal Kombat 10 at all. And that concludes our video on the full story of Goro. Goro is a warrior full of pride and power and ascribes to a set of norms that also tie his sense of self-worth to how strong he is. The Shokan are a proud warrior race, and yet they end up serving Shao Kahn, which seems perplexing in itself until you remember that Shao Kahn is as much a politician as he is a fighter. As with many small-time villains, the narrower ambitions of the Shokan that Goro adheres to, the propagation of the Shokan itself and the view that the Centaurians are enemies, allows Shao Kahn to take advantage of them despite their strength. So tell us, what do you think of Goro? Be sure to comment in the comment section below. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.